Not too long ago, I made a video talking about the issues surrounding mats, how they're not really worth a lot and really the lack of value that they have and how it has caused greater problems for the game. You guys as a community have done a great job proposing ideas, comments, and just suggestions that could fix or help improve these issues to make sure we try to begin to fix this problem. And I intend to address many of these ideas in future videos when I have the time, because good ideas I want to focus on and push us forward as a community. However, for the moment, I'd like to focus on one particular idea, which is the last one standing idea proposed by TheOriginalSin. So let's get right into this. So let's start off by reviewing the commenter's concept. They wish for the creation of 12-person lobbies, where upon entering, you won't be able to leave until everyone else in the encounter with you is dead. This concept of having only one person being able to leave the encounter would be the main focus of this new mode. So what would this do? Well, first things first, this would attract the top tier players. Them seeing an opportunity to increase their KDs because their potential prey wouldn't be able to escape the match, and that would in turn buff their stats. This would cause a high density of top tier players, which would quickly create the most competitive mode in the game, which would attract other top tier players, creating a kind of semi-endgame thing that people would be attracted to begin competing for who is the best player. And due to all of the competitive players being baited into this mode, it could potentially begin to fix some of the issues of the game that was caused by the mats not having any value. So let's cover what issues it would fix. So, as stated by the original commenter, this would make it so only one loadout can leave the encounter. And since all these high tier players would be baited in, and all of them would likely bring very strong meta loadouts, but only one of them can leave, instead of multiple very high tier loadouts leaving every encounter, it would only cause one to leave every encounter. This would cause a great venting out of a lot of the stockpiles of materials that these people have, which could begin to help solve the material issue that exists in the game, as the Vigor economy would see a great venting of a lot of materials. This would also help get a lot of these killer-based players out of the standard rotate to help give more casual players a chance to just vibe and relax without getting spammed with portable signals. These two benefits are already quite strong, I'd argue, but how would this mode work? Well, they would have to be added as a third mode option, much like Shootout and Elim. This would mean it would have its own queue. It could be set to a set map that rotates, kind of like, Diverge with this mode or whatever it wants. Or it could use the code that already exists for quick play. They already have the code for quick play. They could just implement it for this mode. Either way, it wouldn't really matter as long as it has a separate queue. It not having one and instead making it something similar to Lone Wolf where it's a little toggle would just make its queue times too long, and it would be something that just doesn't matter to anyone in the game. Kind of like the issue that currently exists with the Lone Wolf just not working properly and having stupid queue times. So from there, we should talk about what rewards would be required to, motivate people to play this. And to answer that question, I'd advise that this mode, much like Lone Wolf, only really gives an XP multiplier boost. For anything extra, I don't think would be needed, since the allure of the mode is the expensive loot other people are bringing in, and the real stat focus of this being kind of the hardest mode in the game. And that would be where the allure is not really in anything tangible, especially since most tangible items would be useless to these top tier players at this point. Would we need to change anything inside the mode? Besides the whole not being able to leave until everyone else is dead, which could be programmed using the locked exit programs and code, not really much else would be needed. If we wanted to go above and beyond, they could add a constant threat effect on everyone, a counter on the top of the encounter that shows how many people are left. They could stop rads from coming in until only 2 players remain, forcing the last 2 players to have a phone duel with each other. All of these things would just be little quality of life improvements that would add more to the mode and improve it and kind of fight back a bunch of possible things that might make this mode more boring and more spammy and more campy. But honestly, none of it would really be needed, as I think this mode would be fun regardless. So moving from there, we should address the logistics of the devs adding this, and this is something we always got to consider when we're talking about new modes. But to me, I don't think this has that much work for the devs. The biggest part of adding this would be dedicating server space to it and programming the locked exits to work the way we propose they work, which they could go more than this. They could program all of those random little quality of life improvements that I just listed, but each of those would exponentially increase the amount of work that it would take to add this mode to the game. And since the base work isn't a lot, if we can just get the base bottom, I'd be happy. I'd like the extras, but I would really like to just get the base of it in the game. If that means, we cut a couple things out, that's okay, as long as we get something, recognizing dev resources here. Finally, since I am the lore guy, I should mention how we can make this work with the lore. Thankfully, TheOriginalSin has already got me covered and proposed a concept about how this could work, with it being something set up by Ada to thin out the Outlanders. And I love this concept, and I'm going to take it a step further. So, as I established in the Who is Ark video, Ada is the head of Ark, which seems to be a NATO remnant faction. This faction wishes to re-establish society, and in order for them to do so, they're going to need the strongest warriors in the Outlands. This mode would be their proving ground, where Ark could find the strongest Outlanders that they could personally use in their quest to restore society. So that's all I got. I'm personally a huge fan of this concept and would love to see it if the devs could add it to the game. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts, so drop those in the comment section below. Let me know if you would or wouldn't like to see this, and if you have any tweaks you'd like to do to this concept. Most of all, thank you to TheOriginalSin for the original comment and the idea. I really do love this idea, and great job, man. And also, you guys, if you guys ever drop and have some great ideas that I really think are something I can make a full video on, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys have, as this is a community effort. And yeah, but that is all for today's video. This has been Christopher Beast, and I do hope to see you all next time.